AGMU faculty. This is your Assistant Vice Chancellor of Learning, Research, and Project Management, Bill Lynch, and I'm going to walk you through a quick start guide on how to get into Canvas and how to access your course and our training course, the Walk to Class. This is January 2022. This video is being recorded. The anticipated plan is to bring all programs, whether they be bilingual, Spanish, or English, into Canvas by May of 2022. English programs are currently running from PT 51 and forward in Canvas. So there'll be a number of trainings happening. Please watch your calendars. Let's get started. First, what you're going to want to do is use either Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox as your browser. Those two browsers work best with Canvas, and make sure that the content that is loaded into your course and the content you load into your course gets out to students in the proper way. Other browsers, Safari or Edge or Internet Explorer, can be used. However, there have been known issues with video playback or picture displays and uploads with those browsers. So there are links on both the Faculty Quick Start Guide and in the Faculty and Student Walk to Class courses that link out to downloading and installing Chrome and or Firefox. Either browser works wonderfully with Canvas, so it's really up to you. Odds are you're probably already using one of these browsers. In your browser, you'll want to navigate to agmu.instructure.com. That's our entry point. You can also go to the agmu.edu site and under Quick Links, find Canvas. It takes you to the exact same page, so it's entirely up to you which approach you'd like. On the Faculty Quick Start Guide is this agmu.instructure.com link. Your username is your university email minus the domain. So mine removes the @uagm.edu designation. Your password is whichever password you use to log into your university email. Sorry, I can't show you that. We'll go ahead and log in. And the first thing we see is your dashboard. This is the same case for all users in Canvas. The first thing you see is your dashboard. We'll go left to right here, and I'll just overview some of these features here. On the left-hand side, this ribbon here is your global navigation. This applies to all courses, regardless of what the options are in the course or what's configured in the course. These options will always appear on the far left-hand side of your browser window. It starts with your account, which we'll go over in just a minute, which has your profile, your notifications, and your settings. Your dashboard, which is what we're on right now, that is the quickest way, quote unquote, home from anywhere in Canvas. Your courses menu, which, as you can see right now, I have this configured to only show a small number of classes that I am enrolled in. Any course that you're enrolled in as a student or a teacher that is published and active will show up on your dashboard. For any courses that have concluded, as we move further into Canvas, you would simply go to Courses, All Courses, and as you can see here, I've got quite a few that I have not put on my dashboard because that would make it quite cluttered. Any past courses or any courses that are eligible to be pushed onto your dashboard can be configured with this star right here. That's how you toggle courses on and off your dashboard. So if you've completed the Faculty Walk to Class, since you don't lose access to that, you can configure that to be off of your dashboard simply by removing this star. Go back to the dashboard. The calendar exists in Canvas and maps to the due dates and requirements for each class. As you can see over here on the right-hand side, in the calendar, if you're enrolled in multiple classes, whether as a student or a teacher, those are color-coded. And so when events happen for those classes, they'll show up on your calendar as color-coded. Makes it a little bit easier to organize. This is your calendar, so you can add personal events on here if you'd like. For instructors, I typically recommend that you add any office hours, recurring office hours on here so that students can see that as well when you link to your calendar. The inbox is unfortunately not your university email. It's simply a messaging feature here in Canvas. That is the number one feature that I wish would change about Canvas, and maybe perhaps someday. I know that on the Canvas forums it's a big request. This functions to message other instructors, students, or any member of the administration that happens to be in this Canvas instance. It's very simple. We'll go over that in just a little bit as to how to send a message. And finally, I want to highlight the help section here. For any feature that is not login specific or something to do with the AGMU instructional design team, if you're having trouble, a post won't appear or an announcement won't post, the Canvas help is definitely an excellent resource to use. Beyond the guides that exist, they have a very robust network of PDF guides or videos, as you can see in the walk to class when we get there. I link all that in. They also have live help as well, technical support number, both in English and Spanish. The guides, reporting any problems, and things like that are all active here if you should ever need any help. So let's head back to the dashboard. Now, as I mentioned, these tiles right here are classes that you are either enrolled in as an instructor or as a student. So anything that appears here is an active course. Here I've just put on the Social Work Programs Information Center as an example, and our walk to class, which we'll go over in just a moment. On the right-hand side is your to-do list. As you can see, I'm the instructor for the walk to class, and there are some grading requirements that are listed here for assignments that have been submitted. That will happen for any class that you are assigned to teach. It'll tell you which assignment, which course, the number of points, and if there was a due date, which there's not for this assignment, the due date would be here. Those would be listed out for you when you log in each time until they are fulfilled, and then they disappear from the to-do list. But of course, there's always something to take its place. Coming up is corresponding to your calendar. So any due dates that happen be coming up, or any events that are on your calendar would come up here. As we saw, there was nothing on my calendar. I haven't configured that. And so there's nothing to pop up here, but you can always view your calendar from here just to be clear if there are any upcoming issues for you. And any recent feedback corresponds to the grade book for each class that you're assigned to as either a student or an instructor. And if there were any feedback in the course for any assignment from a student or feedback that you've given, it would be listed here so that you could keep track of that. And it would be similar to what you're seeing in the to-do list up here. It would list the assignment, it would also list the course, and it would list the student that is reporting feedback or the feedback that was given. So that is our dashboard in a nutshell. Let's take a look at our account and configure our profile. All of this is in the first module of the walk to class, so I won't spend too much time on it. I wanted to keep this video brief, but just a few big ticket items. In your profile, for those of you who are teaching on-ground classes, students will see you, whether it be in person or if there are hybrid classes, you're on camera. So they have a sense of who you are and what you look like. But it is a good idea to put a profile picture in. And clicking profile, you'll be able to add that profile picture. I've chosen to highlight one that shows more of my wife and my daughter for obvious reasons. You'll also be able to put in any additional contact services from the settings page. We'll go over that next. Add a short biography and any links to e-portfolios that you have, certain sites that you administer, showing off your work, showing off who you are. If you have your own personal website, things like that. Let's just be careful about what we link to in here. There will be formal policies coming, but for right now, anything that you are comfortable sharing in a code of conduct academic space should be very safe. If you have any questions, I'm always happy to answer that. Your file setting is user files. And we'll see that when we get into the course. These are files that you will use quite often, and you don't want them to be contained inside of a course. You can put your own file storage in here. Your settings is where we register our contact methods. Your university email will be your primary default email. This is how you log in, so this is exactly what will be used to communicate with students in Canvas. If there is an additional email address that you are comfortable logging in with Canvas, you can do so. That does not mean that it is visible necessarily to students. It just means that you can log this in for additional notifications. Other contact methods really do just boil down to your email address, a text message with your cell phone number, and there is Slack integration. Obviously, that's not something that we use necessarily. We are on Teams here at AGMU. The text message could be quite bothersome, so I would say it's probably best, since the majority of us have smartphones and mobile devices, to just go with email communication for our notifications. And as you can see, the only registered contact method I had in settings was my university email. So that's the only identity that Canvas knows and can send notifications to. For the notifications, you have four main options. I'm not going to go through every single item here. Obviously, the list is lengthy, but they are user-defined, meaning that you can just set your parameters as to the frequency of communication that you get. You have notify immediately, a daily summary, a weekly summary, or notifications turned off completely. These notifications go through Canvas via email to the contact method. So if I had logged in a second method, a personal email, that would show here, and I could set the two differences. I could set the notification preferences differently. It's entirely up to you. There's a lot of customization that can happen here. What I would recommend is, if you aren't going to log in another email address, it is best to forward your university email in case you do get a message. So a conversation, if you're added to a conversation, I want to be notified immediately. If someone sends me a message, I'd like to be notified immediately. Those are my preferences. Policies on this will take form and shape as we move forward. Obviously, we are requiring that everyone monitor their university email, so I don't foresee any issues here. However, we will be formulating more policies and formal approaches to these notifications as we move forward, should there be a reason to. So there's a very quick overview of notifications. Now, I want to go into the Walk to Class course. So there are a number of ways to navigate here, and I think that's going to be the one thing you find about Canvas that is exciting, but also a bit confusing at first, is that there are a number of ways to get to an area. You can follow the breadcrumb trail up here at the top of your screen that shows you how to get back to the pages that you're going back to. You can collapse the in-course navigation menu. That will show when we get into courses as well. Or you can simply go to your dashboard. That is the home button. For those who remember having a home button in a browser, this is the home area. So like I said, I'd like to go into the Walk to Class. This is a training course to get your skills in Canvas to a certain level to where you feel comfortable with what you're asked to do on a day-to-day basis. There are areas that focus specifically on just what we're doing at AGMU, but there are also areas that broaden your skill set in Canvas overall. Understandably, we don't prefer that you take these skills elsewhere. However, I wanted there to be value in this for everyone, from folks who have never used Canvas before and will only be using it here at AGMU, to people who are using Canvas perhaps in other areas or have children who are using it, as remote education becomes more and more of a possibility, to be able to help and to be able to understand more of the environment so that there's value in these trainings. The home page, again, outlines where to install and download Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox if you're not using those browsers at the moment. And then we have our navigation boxes to the different areas of the course. The welcome module, module 1, getting used to the virtual classroom, and then the different areas that we'll be looking at for classroom-specific procedures. Again, there is a in-class navigation menu here, much like the global one on the left. This corresponds just to this course. Now, as you can see, there are areas that say no content not visible to students. You see the student view anywhere that we are an instructor, so I'll go ahead and turn that on now because I am the instructor for the walk to class. As you can see, this menu gets significantly shorter. That's not necessarily a bad thing. This just constrains the area so that you're not overwhelmed by the content that's here in the class. I constrained it to the areas where you would get the most value. Seeing the modules, which we'll go over next. Your grades, which technically there are no grades in this course, but whenever you submit an assignment, there has to be a grade book entry to it, even if there's no credit for the assignment. Google Drive, which at the moment is just connected to any personal Google account. It does connect to your Google Drive, so if you keep files there, that's another great way to be able to pull things into class quickly. Office 365, which right now corresponds to your OneDrive access for your UAGM account, and that's another area where you can store files to bring into class. Badges, which is something that I set up to really gamify this whole approach. We'll look at that in just a moment. And the virtual library, which will be changing this year to something based here in the US, but right now goes to our phenomenal resource center. So I'll leave student view, and you can see we get a number of items back. Now, announcements has no content because I've not put an announcement in. As soon as I put an announcement in, this menu item would become visible to students. The same would happen for any files I add or discussions that I start. There are some other areas that are shut off completely for students in this course because there's no content there that you would need to see, and I don't want people to be overwhelmed or feel like they're wandering into a restricted area. And that's just fine. That's all turned on and off in the course settings for your course. You can toggle the areas that are on under navigation. As you can see here, I've put what is available, and there are other areas that are not enabled at the moment, but could be simply by dragging them up to the enable section. So again, we'll go back to the home page for the course. And course navigation, that's the final point I want to go over here, is there are a number of ways to navigate this course, either as a student or as an instructor. There's the homepage navigation. All of these pictures are links to the different areas. It does not need to be done sequentially necessarily. But what I find is the most valuable is the modules section. So clicking modules is the super highway to your course. And for anyone who's instructing a course, you'll see here that it is a week by week or module by module overview of the content for each week. Here we have it broken down into subject areas. So as you can see, module 1, introducing yourself, goes over the dashboard, the profile and settings that we've already taken a look at. Module 2 jumps into the virtual classroom, how to set up your file space, customizing the course, how to use the rich content editor and things like that, creating lessons, and so on and so forth. In your course, you will see that each week is broken down into a module. So this is the quickest way to navigate the course content, in my opinion. If you find a way that works for you and gets the same content, that is absolutely fine. One of those ways is the page-by-page method. So a note here, because before we get to the page-by-page method, these are the badges. As you complete each module, you'll be able to claim a badge for understanding a different area of Canvas and a different part of the training. It's just a fun way to jump in and get things started. So you feel like you're getting something outside of this rather than just knowledge. Page-by-page navigation would happen simply by clicking next at the bottom of each page. Rather than doing the modules view, which as we see goes as an overview, clicking through each page is a bit slower breaks down the information just a little bit more, a little bit quicker, to look at absolutely everything and feel you're not missing any area of the course. But again, it's entirely up to you how you'd like to navigate. I prefer modules, but page by page is absolutely fine. This course is not meant to take too much time away from your personal life, your work life, or your course. On average, about an hour per module is realistic. So don't feel like you're spending too little time or too much time in here. Again, you'll have the ability to reference this course at any time. We will not lose access to this course. We're not taking access away because this is all new skill, and we really want to make sure that everyone has a chance to assimilate this information and feel like they can refer back to it without keeping all this knowledge in your head. I'm always cautious of learning new things in lieu of it pushing out something that I had learned long ago. And so I appreciate retention, memory retention, but at the same point, I understand the demands on all of our lives and everything else that we have to keep in our heads. And so I wanted this to be a stress-free area where we click through and feel that we're comfortable navigating and learning things and referring back to things as we learn and grow. Some things will just become muscle memory, and some things will be, the repetition that is key to retention. That is my very quick overview of the walk to class. There will be training sessions on these. Please watch your email for notifications, flyers from either Lynette Caballero or myself or your academic director. And be sure to watch the announcements section as more faculty members and staff members are added to the walk to class. We'll start to use this feature a lot more to mass communicate certain areas and updates. This is a growing course. This is a living course. This will continue to have things added to it so that we feel that we're learning everything that we need to better service our students and to truly highlight the exceptional work that you do as faculty members here at AGMU. Thank you again for watching. Please feel free to reach out, wlynch, Lynch, at agm.edu with any questions. I'm happy to help and look forward to fostering your growth.